Good Sunday morning. We're Don and Steph.
And it's time for our Church of the Week, where we get to spotlight churches in our area and just to get to know them a little bit better. This week's Church of the Week is Chicago First Church of the Nazarene on Bell Road in Lemont, Indiana, with Pastor Brian Wangler.
All right, Pastor, share with us. Introduce yourself just a little bit and tell us about your church, where it is, and what time services are.
My name is Brian Wangler, and I'm one of the pastors on staff here at Chicago First Church of the Nazarene, which is located in Lemont, is our base location, 12745 Bell Road. We also have campuses in the Austin neighborhood of Chicago and a couple of parent-affiliated congregations that we work with in Inglewood and in Uptown in Chicago. We have a Saturday night service at 6 p.m. and a Sunday morning service at 9 and then again at 10:45. And in between the 9 and 10:45, we have something called FX Lite, which is about a 20-minute segment for kids and parents together.
Okay, that's outstanding. Tell us something that you really, really like about your church.
I would like to think that because we're part of a body and because we're a church, there is a kingdom culture that we're trying to model. And so I would like to think that what makes us unique is not so much unique from other churches, but unique from what people are experiencing everywhere else in the world. And so, and I'm not saying that we have that figured out, but I'm saying that we want them to experience a love here that's unique, a welcoming that's unique, opportunities to see and to discover things that are unique. And so I think that's how I would answer that question.
That's Pastor Brian Wangler from Chicago First Church of the Nazarene in Lemont, Illinois. Keep listening this morning for more of our conversation with Pastor Brian, or you can get more info about our Church of the Week on our website, which is just like our name, shine.fm.
It's Christian Stanfill and the Passion Band with Always on Shine Worship with Don and Steph.
And it's time for our Church of the Week, where we get to connect with churches in our area and get to know them a little bit better. This week's Church of the Week is known as C1, but also Chicago First Church of the Nazarene in Lemont, Illinois, by Pastor Brian Wangler.
All right, Pastor Wangler, tell us a little bit about your church and what its mission or vision might be.
Chicago First is a 115-year-old church, and it's the mother church for our movement in the Midwest. And what I love about who we are and where we are now is that we are now multiplying as a parent would into different places in the city and the suburb. Our mission and vision is essentially to leverage the resources of a large church with the personality and proximity of a small church to deliver the church where it's needed most, which is right down the block.
Ooh, I love that, working in your community, your neighborhood. All right, share with us, what are some outreach opportunities there are at your church?
I think that we are a distribution center as opposed to a warehouse, and I think that we are continually sending people out. And that comes, at our core from a mission standpoint. So there's a portion of every single dollar that comes in here goes to more than 160 different world areas. But we're also doing that with students. We're doing that with multiplying our presence in the city and in the suburbs. So I think it's one of the things I love most about the church.
All right, as we turn the focus inward just a little bit, what are some in-reach opportunities there are within your church?
So we have several things through the year. Now, one of the interesting things about C1 is that we are really, really committed to reaching unchurched people. So we would suggest that every single weekend, we say our approach to ministry is that every Sunday is Easter. So we would point to every single gathering, every single weekend as being an outreach event. But there are various things that we do in and around the city. One of them that's coming up really, really soon is Polar Express, and it's an outreach event. It's a really cool gathering where we will, 2 or 3 nights in a row, we will invite folks to come in and we show the movie Polar Express. There's everybody's dressed up like it's a train, a train ride as the movie does. And when there's something that happens in the movie, when cocoa is served, for instance, our folks come in and serve cocoa. When a hat is given away, it's just this. We start getting calls on it in June with people wanting to get tickets. And so it's a great, great opportunity for us to just to love on the community. Our recreation program, we have a recreation program that's active here. We'll have more than 4,000 registrations this year of kids and parents coming in. And so that also is probably the largest outreach that we do in terms of bringing people in. It's really, really interesting because while there's a lot of folks who have not attended the church, if you were to go into Lemont or go into the area and talk about the recreation program, folks go, oh yeah, I went there, or my kids went there, or my grandkids, because it's been more than a 40-year process.
Wow, that's so cool. That's Pastor Brian Wangler from Chicago First Church of the Nazarene, also known as C1. Keep listening this morning for more of our conversation with Pastor Brian, or you can get more info about our Church of the Week on our website, which is just like our name, shine.fm.
Good Sunday morning to you.
And it's time for our Church of the Week, where we get to connect with churches in our area and get to know them a little bit better. This week's Church of the Week is Chicago First Church of the Nazarene, otherwise known as C1. Such a cool name. And the pastor is Pastor Brian Wangler.
All right, Pastor, talk about some opportunities to serve at your church.
Well, we say that we want people to experience the presence of God in worship. We want them to experience the power of God in service to others. And we want them to experience the family of God in life group. And so we have a pretty significant ministry where we invite people into small groups, and we're doing life together. And that's always a teaching process. Our approach to worship in terms of development is a worship planning process that's 90 days out. We have teams that are praying, and it always changes. It's never exactly as delivered. So those are extraordinary opportunities. Because of the work that we have and the partnerships that we have in the city, we do have volunteers that will go to an after-school program called By the Hand in the Austin neighborhood and work with kids. We have volunteers who will go to Inglewood. So there's different kinds of ways to serve there. And then serving locally, there are just so many different ways that someone can serve, as we look at every single weekend being Easter. And so we want to make sure that there are opportunities of everything from greeting to serving in children's ministries or student ministry. All of those are avenues of service to the folks for those who are insiders. And I think probably the most important step that we want people to take is really to see that this is a place where they can belong even before they believe. And that's a common phrase that churches are using. I think it's a positive one, because we really are on a quest to understand. None of us have it all figured out, and it's pretty cool when we can do that together.
That's Pastor Brian Wangler from Chicago First Church of the Nazarene in Lemont, Illinois. Keep listening this morning for more of our conversation with Pastor Brian, or you can get more info about our Church of the Week on our website, which is just like our name, shine.fm. It's time for our Church of the Week, where we get to connect with churches in our area and get to know them a little bit better. This week's Church of the Week is Chicago First Church of the Nazarene, otherwise known as C1, in Lemont, Illinois, with Pastor Brian Wangler.
All right, Pastor Wangler, we're to the time that it's my favorite question of the week. What does Shine.fm and or contemporary Christian music mean to you and your church?
It is really interesting how powerful music is, and it's because of the time of our talk. We know we're all considering or looking at, and I've listened to Kanye's latest album, right? And it's amazing how instantly, because music is involved, you're on Times Square. I mean, the whole thing. And I think that when you look at what music is able to do, and historically and through Scripture, we just see it's there, right? It touches a part of us, and it reasons with a part of us, and it takes us back to moments. It does things that really nothing else can do. And I'm always amazed at how quickly my attitude can be affected or shifted, or just the way I'm feeling can be impacted by the first few notes of a song that I recognize, or how I can be prodded to think differently as a result of a song that I've never heard before, and a perspective. Because every single song is somebody's either point of, something happened, right? And so there's a point of celebration or discovery in somebody, or somebody has went through a really, really dark time, and like the psalmist, they documented it, and before long it was put to music, and it just penetrates the soul. So it's really, really important.
That's Pastor Brian Wangler from First Church of the Nazarene in Lemont, Illinois. Keep listening this morning for more of our conversation with Pastor Brian, or you can get more info about our Church of the Week on our website, which is just like our name, shine.fm.
It's seventh time down with Only King Forever on Shine Worship with Don and Steph.
It's time for our Church of the Week, where we get to connect with churches in our area and get to know them a little bit better. This week's Church of the Week is Chicago First Church of the Nazarene, otherwise known as C1, in Lemont, Illinois, with Pastor Brian Wangler.
All right, Pastor, share with us something that is coming up at your church that you want everyone to know about.
Christmas Eve, certainly. Christmas Eve rivals Easter from all of the data and our own personal experience over the years in terms of our opportunity to minister to people who are not attending church or not part of church. There's something about Christmas Eve. And it really, when we started focusing several years ago on it, it kind of surprised me because I thought, well, I didn't see that coming. But in many cases, you'll see more folks in a given church setting on Christmas Eve than you even do Easter anymore. So those Christmas Eve services are really, really important. And we design them and we plan them intentionally, recognizing, and we do a lot of this every weekend because we design every service knowing that the most important person in the building in terms of us trying to communicate a message is that person who may not even wanted to come, but they came because their friend wouldn't stop. We hear this a lot. You know, I came because so-and-so kept inviting me and I thought I can get them off my back this way, right? And so we want that experience to be one that will cause them to be really curious to hear more. And that's kind of our goal. So Christmas Eve would be the thing I would point to.
All right, fantastic. Anything else as we wrap up our time together that you'd like to share this morning while we have you for Church of the Week?
To all of my C1 peeps who are out there, hundreds of volunteers, I just need you to know that this week we are Church of the Week, and every single one of you are so important, and I don't get a chance to say thank you to everybody at once. And so I want to thank everybody that makes C1 who she is and helps us accomplish what God's called us to do.
That's Pastor Brian Wangler from First Church of the Nazarene in Lemont, Illinois, otherwise known as C1. For more info about this week's Church of the Week or any of our previous Churches of the Week, visit our website, which is just like our name, shine.fm.